Place higher than it used to be. So the water is. We're trying to keep. It more even about higher than
Because there's extra water or for recreation.
Change operation.
Yeah.
Different colors.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that problem there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was paying some attention to that. When they had the advisory. And like, yeah.
The only thing I think they would think might be full light of.
Yeah.
Forms a lot.
Yeah. Brian Jones. Yeah, he was looking at some of the corals on the canal. Yeah. Just makes sense.
Okay, we ready to go, everybody? After 1 o'clock, so I guess we might as well get the ball rolling here. I'd like to welcome everybody. And just first of all, we ought to go around and do some introductions and find out who's all online. So, beginning with me, I'm Kevin Cotner, with one of the co-chairs for the West Colorado River Watershed Council. And I am also representing Carbon Canal here. So that's my role in this. And you can start during the day.
Accepting us Carbon Canal and farm.
Good with me. I'm Bill Butcher. I'm here really representing the Price River Watershed Conservation District. I'm listed on the page. I'm also president of Price River Water Users Association. Schofield Reservoir.
My name is Jeff Richards. I work for Price River Water Improvement District, and I see I'm tucked into a water quality issue. So that's good because no water quality.
Bart Jensen, Jonesville Engineering, representing industry.
Amy Dickey with the Division of Water Quality.
Gary Humphrey, Family Water Consumption District.
I'm Cody Allred. I'm an industrial water user, work with City Corp. I'm also the state representative for this council on the state Watershed Council.
Miles Nelson, Price City Public Works, also the secretary for the council.
My name is John Polbroni. I'm Public Works Assistant for Price City.
Kathy Sherman, Public Works Secretary. Harley Payne, Watershed Council's Coordinator.
Tom Moore, I'm the area planning specialist for Division of Water Resources.
Dino Catipus, Carbon Canal, Department. I don't know who it is.
Yeah, everybody online. They hear us on the line, I guess. Might as well go through that. If Tony wants to get started, looks like Anthony Bill's online.
Hi, I'm Tony Beals with NRCS.
Call them out, Kevin, Mark.
Mark Quilder. Russell Seeley. Autumn, are you online? We can see you.
Yes. Yep. Good to see you. I'm Gillard here, Cultural Resource Manager, Paiute Indian Tribe of Utah.
Looks like we've got somebody that's called in. We can't see a name on that. Someone on their cell phone apparently.
It's Michelle Gap.
Okay, are you
Put it
Michelle?
in the water.
Okay. I don't know who else.
That's it.
That's it.
Is that it? Okay. Everybody's attended, counted for.
I assume that we have a quorum. A quorum, make sure.
Yes.
Make sure we can decide.
Yep.
Everyone, so.
Good to go.
We're good on that?
Yep.
Okay. All right, I guess first of all is the approval of the meeting minutes from June 24. Did everyone get a chance to review them? See any issues? Things that need to be addressed?
Hearing none, I move to approve it. Chair.
We made long, second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. That's accepted. Okay, the next one is review the contact information sheet membership. That one you probably ought to really take care of.
Yeah, and I have a copy I'll pass around, so you can mark any changes if you want to make out. Yeah.
Okay. If you want to start that, I guess we might want to move on to the next. That would be the update.
Yeah, before we move on, Kevin, can we talk a little bit about, in our minutes, there was a couple highlights of people that we were hoping to get on. Is there been any follow-up on that? Or obviously Autumn is online with the Paiute tribe. Is she,
Okay.
so is she officially on our team now?
Believe so.
Yeah. Good. Did we ever hear anything back on Leland? Was Carrie gonna get?
Here's W chartering about. For anything from Leland's. Have you guys-
Okay.
So do we have any goals that we need to fill at this point? Or are we good? Do we have, as far as the act goes, we went to the act as far as
Right.
representation?
I mean, Leland was gonna start planning and research institutions. I don't think we have anyone else covering that.
So we need to make sure we can follow up on that one.
Yeah.
Sure.
What about Randy Irwin of Greener?
Yeah, let's see, he's on here under mutual irrigation companies. But Brian Peterson is also on mutual irrigation companies. So maybe you could ask Randy if he's willing to switch seats.
So just going down this on that, we don't have Sue. But yeah, we got this today.
One, just make sure your contact information is correct and check it off if it is.
And then her main address changes. Mark still in contact with our kids' reputation.
I was hoping Mark would be able to attend today to ask him. I think we'll just have to keep trying to get a hold of him to see if he wants to keep participating in his new role.
Michelle is representing Watershed.
Oh, that's right. Michelle, are you the new regional engineer?
We do have a regional engineer now, Cash Stallings. He is just out of the office. He is kind of doing double duty for the division for the next 2 weeks, so he's not completely over to the region quite yet.
Ash is up in northern Utah. Curtis Page is regional engineer here.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Cash used to be in our region, and now he's been working for the Water Right Network, but he is coming back to the region, but it'll be about 2 weeks before he makes the complete transition. So
Good job.
it'll either be me or him at one of these meetings.
Okay.
That's why. I mean, why? Okay,
So who is the engineer then?
so it gets to be cat.
Yeah.
Michelle, do you and Cash want to be big liaisons to the council?
That's fine.
So again, we prefer Mark to still be involved because he's now Colorado River Authority. He's willing, he's to be involved.
Right. I don't know Mark, but I can try and reach out to him, or if any of you guys know him better and want to call him and see.
I'll reach out to him.
Okay.
So did we clear up what we're gonna do with Randy Bill? Are we supposed to call him, contact him? Or not clear. Is there a conflict? Is it the wrong thing?
I think Randy's fine,
Okay.
but it was maybe suggested that if Leland doesn't want to be here, Randy could cover water planning and research institutions in Leland's place. Is that? Did I understand that right? Well, you can also wait and see if he's here for the next. Yeah.
What does Randy do? Does he get the water plan and research institutions that he with?
It's like Green River Canal Company. This would fall under one.
Okay. But Sherry Cook handled that issue. Get that good.
Yeah, yeah, let's see what we hear from Sherry.
Still have Terry with us today, that's anything else on that, Cody?
No, I think so, as long as that thing makes it back to the car.
Yeah, it's all later. Okay. Well, I guess the next thing, if you want to leave, talk a little bit about the update from the July meeting.
Sure. Excuse me, sure. Like I said in the introductions, I am the representative for this council on the state Watershed Council. There was a meeting on July 11th. It was an important meeting for our group because that's when we submitted our official letter, certification application letter, and our guiding document. And There was some discussion on it. It was all positive. At the end of the discussion, of course, we were recommended and approved for certification. So we're formally certified as a council now. And there was maybe the most interesting thing to that was the co-chair concept that we come up with. I believe, is my understanding, we're the only council that's doing that. And we probably need to, at some point, kind of get a feel for that and decide kind of how we had a meeting last week, Kevin and the officers and Carly, kind of trying to get a feel for how we want to approach that, whether we want to, you know, sometimes when you have two bosses, you don't have, it's hard to have one, you know, who's going to do what. And so I think, Kevin, you may want to have additional comments for the group or thoughts on that, but we are going with the co-chair at this point, and we'll have to decide like on locations and who's going to be, you know, taking the lead role in what aspects as far as the chair goes. But they thought it was a good reason, good idea to do it because we're such a big group, such a vast area. The co-chair seems to make sense. So there was a few minor changes to our documents, but like I said, they were certified between. There was the Southeastern Colorado River Watershed Council that did the same process as us. I thought it was interesting. They wanted to change their name because they didn't want to be confused that they were Southeast Colorado River. So they wanted to change their name to Southeastern Utah Water Council. So, I don't know if we feel like that. You know, we could have the same discussion in here. It never really occurred to me to be able to change our name, but that group suggested that, and I think they're actually that's going to be one of the recommendations to the legislature, because they said if you're going to change the name, you actually got to change the act because it's specifically listed as Southeastern Colorado Watershed Council. So, the only other noteworthy things that I had noted reviewing that minutes was that the next meeting or the state council was actually this Wednesday, October 9th. So if anybody's interested in that, you're welcome to dial in or attend that meeting. On Wednesday, the state council will be meeting. And then they've also scheduled for the first quarter of 2025. Mike Noel down there in Southern Utah has offered to do a tour. And so the state watershed council is planning on January 14th meeting and tour down in King County, King County Water and Services District office in Canab. So put that on our radar. The only other thing that I had noted was in the state watershed council meeting on the 11th of July was that 3 of the watershed councils give a report. If you read the act or the policies there, each water council, each watershed council will be required to give a report, an annual report to the state watershed council on how we're doing. In the July meeting, it was Bear River, Weber, and Utah Lake watershed councils. It's just about a 10-minute report. They just kind of give an update on what they've been doing for the last year. So I suspect we'll probably be sometime next year. We'll be required to do a report too, or I will be doing that. So we'll want to maybe dovetail, find out when we're going to be up on the docket and maybe have that be an agenda item so we can all provide input, put together a little presentation. So I think that's all I had for that agenda item. If anybody has any questions or comments or anything.
Will you be able to find out when we would be on the docket?
Yeah,
2025.
I'm 80% sure it's in April. So, but I'll double check and get that to you guys.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can report on 9 months of progress since our certification in 9 or so.
Got up to a little bit of a slow start here, but we're off.
Yeah.
And you've got to
We can
rest
say,
again.
we can say we've had our second meeting, even though the ink hasn't dried yet.
Right. But that's good. And this dual chairman, I really think it's a good idea if Terry has the time and put to it, because this is a large area. Most of us sitting in here are aware of that part below that. You just don't deal with that. So, but if not, if we need to do something else, we can definitely do that forward. So, as far as the name, I don't think we're confused with Colorado there, but I don't know if anybody in this group has any concerns with that. Okay. So Wednesday, you have that for you, correct? This Wednesday. What time is that? 1 o'clock?
I think it's good.
At 1 o'clock.
I'm just
Send out-
dialed in. Yeah.
You'll send out a. Something comes out, I know.
Yeah, do you want me to send it to everyone?
If you would, please.
Absolutely, yep.
We appreciate Cody taking the time to do that. He did an excellent job on the first one. I really appreciate you. I mean, being our state representative.
I thought it was interesting. They really questioned you on.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting questions from Warren Peterson, the likes, it was a little uncomfortable.
You did well.
Yeah.
You did well.
That's probably gonna be the easiest one he has.
Jay?
We've chosen a great guy to represent us.
But maybe at some point down the road, we'll want to invite the Kent State Council to a tour of our, area too.
So just questions that you got on your organizing documents
Mostly,
or
yeah,
the
we didn't
power
get
of
into-
this committee?
We didn't
or-
get into anything much more than the organizing document.
Oh,
But they were it was obvious they read it, they were thorough, it wasn't just a rubber stamp.
Okay. All right, so proposed changes to our organizing document.
Yeah, I can take the lead. You should have a copy here, but they do, Kathy, I assume. So these are all the changes the state council and the attorney general's office suggested. They're pretty much very small. So I just figured we can go through. They're all under or in red, the things they wanted to change. So little things you can see at the top of page 3, they took out the line other. Bottom of page 3, they took out the piece about Great Salt Lake Watershed Council because you're not in that area. Page 4, they added other qualifications identified by the council, meaning down the road, you guys have control of what your member qualifications look like. You can add things as long as you keep following what's in legislation. Page 5, Leland Pollock was highlighted because he has not officially committed. I just left that. A few pages with nothing. Looks like the next thing is on page 10. And this section is under electronic meetings. So the state used to have a law that if you were going to join a meeting virtually, you had to let everybody know in advance. It had to be in the public notice website and you would be virtual. They have gotten rid of that rule. So I just struck it from here. Because I figured that's a hassle. Up to you guys if you want to leave that.
That's good. You did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And then page 11, I think this was just, it had the same sentence twice in a row. So he struck the second one. And that's really it. So they didn't have any really significant changes to your documents. Once Cody explained the co-chair situation, they were okay with that. But I guess I would recommend that you guys adopt these today if no one has qualms with it.
And I would add that these also incorporate and consider some comments from Mr. Bushman.
Yes.
What's his official title?
He is
The AG.
with the Attorney General's
Yeah, he's with the
office.
AG's office, so just some legal cleanup a little bit. And so I would move to adopt this guidance document with the changes that Carly went through and I showed him red line format here.
Second. We're to the second line. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passed.
One housekeeping issue on this, Kevin, I think we're required by the act to make this publicly available. How do we do that?
So I posted on our website, so it's
Oh,
there.
okay,
And then you just have to have a copy available to every meeting.
a hard copy.
Yeah. But that's it.
Okay, the question for Carmen, on page 10, where you deleted that line, that will automatically be formatted to 1, 2, 3, 4 under adjectives. We've got starting out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll be able to do that.
Yes, I will renumber it.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out.
And Cardi, after it's made the final changes, can you send that to each of us so we have it for our?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, I'd love to.
So you'll send it and then you'll post it.
Yeah.
And then you said we have to have a hard copy at the meeting.
Yeah.
That's it, right, Kevin? Here.
Well,
Miles gonna
Big
take all the
ass.
easiest assignments you can.
I don't know if I can figure it out. So we're struggling down that road.
Would be good though if we all kept a copy. This is kind of honest, like I see it as our bylaws and policies and whatever we want to follow.
Right.
Okay. Good.
And then, sorry, we had a vote?
Yeah.
Okay.
We made the motion, Bob second.
Okay.
Good.
Good.
Okay. All right, discuss ongoing project within the watershed. I guess we can have a brief discussion about our projects. Again, we don't know of anyone else's. On my mind, the biggest thing is the Ore Basin Reservoir. That's the large one. It's an EIS. The EIS is in progress right now. The other one we have is the South Olson project, which Nature Conservancy, DWR is involved in it, building it now. Well, those are the two big ones we feel that are in our wheelhouse up here on the Price River. Henry County, what issue, if you would, Jay, update us on things over there.
Well, the Cody knows more, but the state engineer has given authorization to investigate the Cleveland and Dawson Reservoir for being rehabbed. And they're right in the design, I guess, not investigation right now, right, investigation. That's about all that going on. You know, we're finishing up the muddy, pressurized assistant, the rest of us are pretty well done.
Which two reservoirs is it again?
Cleveland and Olson,
Are they gonna enlarge them or?
no, they're gonna rehab them to bring them up to state standards,
The dams?
the dams.
Yeah, the state of Utah years back passed some legislation. They created a dam safety initiative where they're trying to rehab old infrastructure, bring it up to today's design standards. The big project at Millsite, you know, recently that big project that was under the same program. So they allocate so much money and they have a priority list and they just kind of work them from the top down. Cleveland's next on the list. And Ralston. Evidently, they also got, there's some FEMA money for the Federal Emergency Management Administration that has allocated hundreds of millions of dollars throughout the country, and each state has an opportunity to access some of that FEMA money for aging infrastructure. And so there is some grants there to do engineering on that. So I think they pay 65%. So if there's entities in this group that may have an old shaky reservoir that they're really concerned about, there may be some opportunities there through Division of Water Resources, dam safety.
Aren't there two potential reservoirs? Isn't there one pump storage reservoir that is trying to get through a process?
I'm not familiar with that. If there is, I don't know if it's in Henry County. Do you know the location of it? It's a pump storage, hydro pump storage, a new construction or a rehab?
No, it's to be above some reservoir. I mean, it may be further south.
Talk about the one above Electric Lake. You guys have proposed, that was proposed.
Yeah, our company back in 2021 submitted some applications with FERC to do a study, pilot study projects on potential pump storage projects, and there were two of them here in Emory County, one in Carver County actually. I hesitate to give an update on that because it's been so long in my company. It's not under my group, so it's coming out of our hydro group, but they are doing studies. I think they have a 4-year period, so that 4-year study period that was approved by FERC is coming up. And I would assume that you'll see, there'll be some kind of an updated announcement from Pacific Corp on where they'll go, whether they either move into a more of a traditional project where they would be, going to the design part of it, or they would probably be shelved as not feasible. And I can't comment on where they're at in that study process, but there was one associated with the Electric Lake. There was one associated down in Jay's country more, that was an off-stream hydro project. I think they called that, you remember?
Rock Canyon?
Yeah, Rock Canyon. And then there was one up here, Barnes Canyon in Rice River Drainage. That's on that study list. And there was a total of 13 throughout the whole western United States.
Okay.
So if that's what you're talking about.
I think so.
I think we're a ways away from them becoming projects, but they are being studied.
Thanks.
And I can follow up next meeting and maybe get a little better information on all that then. I don't have anything else either. Jay stole my list. I don't think there's a lot of projects going on, a lot of maintenance and improvements to existing projects, tweaking things, making it better. But as far as projects go, that's probably.
There's no really projects.
I think that the pressure is big one in our area, honestly, on this lower basin and the Olsen, sure. The Olsen did an EA process. I think it's about wrapped up.
Now, there's one over the Muddy, and it has been, let's say scheduled, but there's proposal called more spending to regulate it. And the initial study was that it's infeasible to construct it. And Muddy Irrigation Company is trying to find ways to, construct it, but, it's looking like $13,000 to make it flip. And that's pretty steep. So, that's those proposals, but nothing.
Okay.
What's the Olsen project? What's that all about?
Rehabilitating actually a new storage facility.
Oh, okay.
Basically, off the end of Carbon Canal.
Okay.
You fed by water from Carbon Canal, carries water. There is an agreement in place. So they can do bulk releases later in the year to keep their goal is to keep a certain flow level downstream on one side, basically, for the fish down there.
This is a water banking. This is a water banking project.
No, it's not really water banking.
Okay.
But yes, that did tie into it, some of that element provided water. It's basically going to be filled and run off stored water. And nature's actually lost water rights at this point. So would be a good thing. I think we feel that, and there's some pipe included in the project. Basically, the indoor system out there, they can pipe. So there'll be some savings out there. And it would tie into this lower basin reservoir plan, and if that comes into play, if it will just happen, but hopefully it does at some point. So, yeah, that looks like a good deal for us. I think that was closer, I know it's closer than, you know, it's through the process farther along. It started before it was only going to get first of the areas up there. So that's not all I can really comment on. Sue and sure some other folks who don't.
No, that's great. Thanks. That's great.
And so the conservation district sponsoring a couple of things. I wish Tommy Beehart was here. He could explain them a lot better than I can, but he wants to do some watershed work, like in the Fulton area, and then a little bit more about Schofield Reservoir. Amy, do you know what? I mean, you were at those, like the initial kickoff meeting. Do you have more information than I do about those?
Tommy's kind of taking the lead on that. He's with Trout Unlimited, and he's hoping to put in or to help develop 3 different proposals to seek funding from the Bureau of Reclamation. They've got drought mitigation grant opportunities in the hopes of implementing watershed improvement projects to increase watershed resiliency in the face of drought. So he's got one sponsored by Price River Conservation District. That's kind of central Price area, downstream Schofield, upstream Pier, and then 2 others sponsored by DWR. One is for the Huntington Creek watershed, some improvements there, and the other is for Schofield Reservoir tributaries and up to the forest. So 3 separate documents, a lot of projects included in there. It's been a whole lot of work. Piecing those together, getting letters of support. So I just want to make sure you're all aware.
Yeah, thanks, Amy.
Those are
We just did, my company just submitted this to Tommy this week, a letter of support. Huntington Cleveland was working on getting approval to do that.
okay. Division of Water Quality did as well for all 3. Yeah.
I think Tommy today told me he was wanting to submit them by next Friday, the 18th of October. And that accesses a whole bunch of federal money as well, right?
And I sent out an email where a bucket of money was coming, I think 2 weeks ago related to that. That's going to be a second bucket that hasn't been released that will, I think, be more for like on-farm irrigation type improvements. So
is that a VW or what? I mean, what's the 2 buckets?
Yeah, it's bucket 2.
One bucket 2.
Well, it's bucket 2 they're on now, and they did the E portion, the environmental money, and then Tom was saying they got the W water, more water type projects. But it's BOR money. They've got $450 million to spend. They want to spend it in a hurry. There's no match required on these programs. So we're found it really, but the timelines are so tight. The bucket 2E proposals were due today, next week, on the 14th, but they pushed that back till November 22nd, I believe. And they haven't announced bucket 2W yet, I know. Yeah, unless it's happened today. But yeah, the time frames are really tight on those. Everybody's been scrambling, you know, we can, like Amy was just talking about, everybody's been working really hard trying to keep their lives. We're all really excited about it. That's a lot of money.
And then just one more, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with our non-point source funding. It's a money that comes through our office and then it's contracted out for watershed improvement project work. And we contracted with Trout Unlimited to do some work on Mud Creek above Schofield Reservoir. And that, you know, we've done different parts and pieces, worked with DWR and other partners for 20 plus years at this point. But this is the full project that they're just finishing up. They've got some beaver dam analog structures, some revegetation efforts in there, development of a grazing management plan associated with that, and not just Mud Creek, but Winter Quarter Canyon. So anyhow, comes right in, together up there, both doors, and they've done a lot of good work, and, if you're ever around up there, you might want to drive slowly and check it out. Looks good.
Is that all wildfire driven? There's some that are just outside of the wildfire back there. I mean, I know, Tommy was pretty clear that this was to try to help with all the wildfire, impacts as much as you can, but for the others, they're not necessarily tied with wildfire.
Yeah, the second one that I'm talking about, Mud Creek, not tied to that. No.
Okay, well, I guess we don't have anybody on the line to discuss anything further south or Liberty County, apparently.
I just know the Tri-Cities trying to move to the design phase on a water treatment plant upgrade. Major project. It's just moving to the design stage now.
Or it'll be
Right where it is now.
Okay.
Up the canyon, next to Cascade. Just trying to upgrade to be able to handle algal bloom issues and stuff. The water in the river better than we have.
Okay.
Doing okay, but we're giving the river run out of formulas to deal with it. So, chemicals. But it'll be pretty much over a big upgrade to go around the plant around here. Well, the challenge we have is our spring lines coming from Golden Springs are failing, which is about 2/3 of our supply. So we're trying to fix our water treatment plant and upgrade it to be able to treat water while we fix the spring lines. That's our major project right now.
What's the fix on the spring lines?
Replace, yeah.
Upper Cities in the process, they just approved a rate increase. They've got funding placed to replace their pipeline. Their estimate is they're losing 55% of their water resource leakage. You get that out of the spring.
And lines weren't, they had a warranty when they come up to.
They're 95 years old. 95 year on some of those sections, yeah.
Wow.
How many miles is by?
About 12, but part of it's new down south of the Crown of Canyon. It's all new because UDOT, when they expand the road, put in PVC for plastic pipe. I'm dealing with thin wall pipe. So about the tunnel back up to Holden. That's the whole section. We can't take that out of line until we get a treatment back and get water back in the system.
Yeah. Okay. Is anyone else have any comments on it? Okay. All right. Next on the agenda here is discuss ideas for future agenda items, forums, presentations, and discussion.
So-
Have any comments?
I'll just say the Division of Water Resources will pay for one tour for your council, and that can be like lunch, that can be mileage reimbursement. It's flexible. I think that you should take more than one tour if possible. I just think it's a really great way to sort of get the council getting to know each other, see different areas. Maybe you could go down to Emery County, since it seems like most of you guys aren't as familiar with it down there. Mostly just as a way to like start to form a group that is aware of what's going on. So that's the thing I recommend to all new councils, is that you start looking at places for like, that project would be interesting to see, or this rehabilitation of this dam, you know. So I'm throwing that up.
One free tour. Don't got a big area. They better have a big check.
I know. Tell the
Take about 3 days
legislature.
to get it.
Yeah, that's going to be probably one of the larger challenges for this group
Yeah.
is the distance between.
I think we can almost fill it now, right? It's gonna be really hard to get.
Right. So a lot of people, well, we're all busy and we're all busy. There's so many things going on, a lot of us can't just. So it needs to be planned extremely well, but we need to have these things on our agenda so we can at least discuss them in the meeting, even if we're not standing on site. Number one, we should have it in the minutes, have a discussion about them. And everybody on the council needs to try and participate and give us what's going on in their work. I mean, we don't know, so. And we'll get some of these bugs worked out this first time. That's going to be a little bit rocky. So.
I really like the idea of tours to start with, and I think it was at the state meeting where they encouraged councils to not be driven to just start solving all your problems right up front. But it is important to take the time to get out there and understand your watershed. I mean, this is all about, funneling information up to the governor's office and the legislatures and the state water council. It's hard to do that. I would have a hard time doing that, certainly any further south in Emory County. Because I don't understand that part of the country, and I'm sure they feel the same way about ours. So tours would be great, even if it took 6 months to get, for us to get out on the ground. Because when you're doing tours, the other thing you're doing is interacting with this group, and we're getting to be better acquainted with each other and stuff. So I don't think we worry too much about, my opinion is not worry so much about getting our problems and starting trying to figure out or how to solve our own problems until we get out there and really understand what's going on. That's my thought. So maybe we have a couple tours, maybe, I think you could do a tour, part of the Germany area could do a tour in a day. And then maybe early next spring or something, we could try to do something similar in the southern half of our watershed.
Well, and I'll just throw this out here, and this is something that's already happening, but you all would be welcome to join. But so Candace is on the board member representing Wayne and Garfield counties for the Colorado River Authority, and you represent. Yeah. But so we're doing a meeting down in Hanksville on November 7th. And so we're going to have a meeting. The current plan is 9 to 11. And then after that, we're going to have a lunch and then go see a blown out diversion by Hanksville that they've been having issues with. So if any of you did want to make the drive, you could listen to the meeting if you're interested. And then it's a pretty informal tour. We're just hopping in our respective vehicles, and somebody will come and talk to us about that ditch. But you would be welcome to join and see some of the more issues that some of the more southern people are dealing with.
That's in our watershed, right? I'll show my try to.
Yep.
That would be in this council's.
Yeah.
What day was that?
So I can send this out in an email, but it's November 7th. The meeting, it's really 9 to 2:30, but the meeting portion is planned 9 to 11. And it's at the Hanksville Community Center.
And you said it's a Colorado River Authority meeting? Is that the group?
Yeah, so Candace represents them on the board, Listy County, so it's really just so she feels like she can better represent them. So hear their issues, give them some updates on the ongoing negotiations and just what Colorado River Authority is doing. But really just, trying to connect. Anyways, thought I would throw that out there.
And this might be kind of a silly idea, but another thing I think we could do, I would think it would be valuable for our group is if there's some liaison, a government liaison, they may have a map already, but if we had a map that kind of looks like this, where it shows our region, but it shows like the drainages, it shows which creeks that go, the Price River goes into the drain. the Sanders Trail's made up of these. As you go further south, I would like to, we could put a map up here and maybe almost do like a virtual tour where we could, and maybe have that map show the key reservoirs, you know, Paiute Reservoir, all that down there that many of us aren't very familiar with. It would be very, and then we could have that map, you know, available as we go forward to show up on the screen and talk about various projects or where we want to do a tour. That'd be pretty easy to do, I think. And I bet you there's maps like that that are already available that somebody might be able to tweak a little bit. It could kind of be our home page, our map. It shows the ranges, the creeks, the reservoirs overlaid on the counties.
So could we, to move that along, I think it's a real good idea. Could we have that on the next agenda? Have that map for discussion, and maybe by then we would know from Wayne and Garfield counties what their projects might be. Somebody would know there. And then we can put them all on that map, identify whether or not the group wants to take a tour of any or all of them or not.
I think it's a great idea. And maybe we could build on that map where eventually you could show where the irrigation companies are.
Yeah.
Infrastructure.
Would it allow us to at least start to identify some of these other areas that, again, we're not aware of. I mean, so
Does maybe anybody on the phone or on the, or, you know, who could maybe take a stab at making that?
Like, I can make that map and.
I do a lot of GIS work in my job, so I can put something together. If you tell me what you need, as long as the shape files are available in the AGRC database, we can put it together.
Or I think we may already have a map like this already. Well, now I can't see you, but I think we may have a map like this already. That's already made. So we could present that maybe next time. Because I think it'd be pretty easy based on some of the maps we already had in the layers.
Yeah, it seems like it should be easy. There's the feedback thing that's probably in my all the shape files at irrigation companies, dams, reservoirs, those are existing shape files that we could easily, create as long as the watershed shape file is available. It's something we can easily do if you need something in addition to what you already have.
Okay. Well, I'll email you and we can talk. To see what's needed. But yeah, and I think maybe, well, it'd be easier. I could make some maps, but actually it'd be easier if I were online and have a laptop and then I could like show it. We could zoom in and do tours and stuff.
Yeah. But like I said, I think obviously like reservoirs and subbasins within our drains, every subbasin, label the creeks. It would be nice to know where different irrigation companies' service areas are, even if it's just a dot. It doesn't have to be the actual service area and towns.
Well, the water rights has been working a lot on the Colorado River related to this recently. So, but really our focus has been up by Duchesne. But there's a few areas down here that are done pretty well.
We can just kind of view it as our base map for our council to talk to.
We have that, I might even know what our area is.
This thing made me realize that I may know a lot about Emory County, a little bit about Garden County, but honestly, I know very, very little about half of this area that we now represent.
So
Do you work down in those parts?
I cover the whole Colorado basin for the work that I do. And it's funny because people call up and think I'm the expert on all the places, all the nooks and crannies. You know that creek? And I was like, No, I don't. But yeah, you're talking about this. I work with Carrie Cook a lot in the Fremont Conservation District, and we've done some water quality studies down there, Capitol Reef, got project work going on that way. I go all the way down through the Virgin River, and just picked up the Moab area as well as our Mike Allred, who covered that area for years, is retired at the end of the year. So they said, just take that on so that you cover the whole Colorado basin. So I'm learning as well, but I still think that's great because we've got Southeast Colorado, we've got the West Colorado and the lower, and exactly which waters fall within those would be really helpful. Carly, do some of the other watershed councils have their own web pages with information like this, or no? Is it just the main one for State Watershed Council with a link to individual organizing documents for each?
It's pretty much what it is, right?
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious if people had that way with like a map or a story map, and then you can click different layers, you know, irrigation
Yeah.
systems, current projects.
That would be amazing. And the websites can be changed. So if you guys, have this map, we can put it on your webpage. If you want other info on there that you want out to public, like we can make it your own. But they're just brand new right now.
Okay.
Well, Michelle's got
Michelle,
So just like you guys were talking, we do have the Water Right Network, who's been doing all the Colorado River stuff, has met with a bunch of the irrigation companies and the municipalities and has delineated a lot of their pipelines, their systems, their service areas, things like that. Most of it is not accessible to the public right now. It's just on staff pages that we can look at. But I'm wondering if I tell them what we're wanting before, I could probably get my hands on quite a bit of it for you, at least for this area.
that would be helpful, right?
Yeah, I keep wanting to look backwards. But yeah, I'll email you, Michelle, about this and, yeah, we can work together on that.
So are we kind of hearing that maybe you can be a lead and work with some of these other folks that are offering?
Yeah.
Start putting together, that's great.
And then we can keep adding to it as we go.
Right.
It seems to me that map, with that map in front of us, we can spend probably a couple hours trying to get acquainted with the whole, that's with the area. Yeah, the whole watershed.
And maybe have a few people assigned to talk to the map,
Yeah.
go around the room. They can talk about, his drainages and his facilities.
Yeah.
And I think it's just time well spent, a lot better spent. We would be a year trying to travel around
Right.
all of this.
But then we could hone in on a few spots or go out there and look at them.
Right.
And the story map's a really good idea. That could be made for each council.
Mhm.
And so it would be one place, all the councils, and then we could, other councils to see what other councils are doing.
Is there other councils kind of go down this road too? Not
I don't know.
Not in terms of like the creation of a map. A few of them have like pulled up just like a regular existing geographical map and done a little like tour of, here's where our water conservancy district services, but
I was reading the act today, all these have 3, 4, 5 counties, we have like 10. I think we have 10 counties. This
The work out. Oh.
big county, 10 big counties.
yeah, here's the outline of your watershed. It's pretty big. I think it's there maybe.
Yeah, that's right.
Any other ideas on this? I think we're headed in a good direction for this.
Yeah.
This will be time well spent. Give us all an opportunity to get a lot more familiar with it. A lot quicker.
This is a great idea.
Okay. All right. Just for down the public comments portion of it.
Do you have any public here?
Yes, there's some online.
Just open it up and see if anybody has any comments, if they get it.
Yeah, do it, does it, any comments? Where are our open comments?
There's your first comment.
We don't need right now.
So once this map develops, can you guys send it out to look at it when it really saying, what this on there?
Right.
You know what, I'd rather than just see it the first time the next meeting.
That's what it is. I think, well, I'm imagining it'll be a very dynamic map. So we can always add things to it. There should be a web version where you can turn things off, zoom in, zoom out, or it could be a static version.
There you go.
So,
Like later.
yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, because we could get it really busy really fast.
Yeah.
And we'll all have that here headlight. Okay.
Jay, any comments, any other comments? Thoughts, ideas?
Because I have one thought, which is that the legislature has asked our division to create a state water plan by the end of 2026. And the Watershed Council specifically in that legislation are to contribute to that. And I just think that getting to know your watershed through this map could be very helpful to that. They really, I mean, we'll have like a template. We're not going to ask you to write a report or anything, but we'll ask you specific questions once we get going on it. But we really want to make this plan something useful and that's accurate to your area instead of just people in Salt Lake saying, we're pretty sure this is what's going on down there, you know? So just keep that in mind. We don't have the template yet, but when we do, I'll bring it back to the council.
Okay. Sounds good.
Is there any obligation on our part to make recommendations for changes to the act or law, legislative law? I mean, was I reading something into that today?
For the state water plan specifically?
Not necessarily the state water plan, but just the general function of the Utah, the State Watershed Council. I think they have an obligation to report on legislative changes.
Yeah.
And are they asking each of the councils to provide them with that as well?
Yes. So
I'm a little foggy on that.
yeah, so there's two things. One, the legislature has just started their review of the Watershed Councils Act that they built it to. Basically to look and see, is it working? Is it doing what we want it to do? So if you have feedback on the Watershed Council's legislation specifically, this is a great time to tell that to the state council. And that review will also end, I think that'll end at December 2025 is when the legislature will make that decision. But as part of what watershed councils were formed for, the Utah Watersheds Council, the statewide, reports to the legislature, governor's office, and Utah Water Task Force every year. And so they are like such a great avenue. If you guys, you know, after you've been doing this for a couple of years, you're like, we feel really passionately that this thing, we need help with this project, or we feel that this legislation needs to be changed. We want the governor and legislators to know about this. You can make all of those recommendations to the Utah Watersheds Council, either when you report annually, or you can submit a letter, or however you want to do it. But yeah, it's a great avenue for any legislation that you'd like to see changed at the council. You can submit it up to there.
So that might be a future agenda item too in the next few months, is for the next year before we do our report, is to just pass out the act itself and have everybody review it and see if there's any concerns that they want to pass up to the state council. Because they're doing that now, right? That's kind of an open period right now.
Yeah,
So
I think they're gonna.
when they passed the act way back then, there was a stipulation that they would do it a formal review.
Yep.
So we're pretty new, so it's kind of, but sometimes fresh eyes is good eyes too. But we can put that on the next agenda, maybe just review the act itself. And then if we have to report to the state council in April or what we do, that could be one thing we could report on. And it might just be that we conducted a review. There were no recommendations to change. We're talking about changing the law. That'd be, Nick will have to be our big guy on that.
Timing wise, how are we gonna do all that? So, yeah, to meet, we're gonna meet 4 times in 2025. I assume.
Yeah.
So, for the first quarter meeting, I think we ought to become acquainted with the watershed based on this map. Then perhaps the second meeting in 2025 would be a good time to take care of that
Right.
issue.
Or if maybe even in the first meeting, Nick actually just hand the act out.
Yes.
And the assignment would be for everybody to review it. And the next item, we bring back any recognize concerns or questions.
Because by then, the legislature will have met and we'll know what they've discussed and if there's anything new that we need to review at that time.
I like that idea. Besides, the first quarter is not the best quarter of the life.
Yeah.
That's a tough exercise. And between now and then, I guess we'll set that meeting here in the next agenda item, but between now and then, if you guys can get a map rolling and get it out.
Yeah.
Before that meeting, so when we get to that meeting, that map's fair.
Yeah.
That would be.
So as far as changing code, would there be any interest in asking the legislature to split our watershed council into 2 different watershed councils? I mean, you look around this room, it's Harvard Emory people in this room. You know, I feel like the southern half of it's not getting any representation. I mean, there's a few online here. But, you know, all of my knowledge can be extrapolated into every county pretty easy. I'm sure every county is related to Harvard County. But like Cody's been saying, we don't know anything about what South I-70.
It's going to be challenging. It's going to be challenging. My thoughts are is we should make the effort before we go ask them to change it. See, you know. Is it too soon to say that we need to split this region up? Do we try?
I like that.
We went with the co-chair deal for that reason, so we ought to try it, but it's one of my biggest concerns just in the this is our second meeting now. If we're not careful, we're really gonna.
Well, I don't want to exclude, you know, we don't want to, we want everybody to get the same representation.
And if this was happening down there, I'm sure a lot of us would be as involved as there would be more down there. It's just the way it is. But it's a big region.
The list currently does weigh more heavily toward this side, just looking at it, right?
And I think that's just because this is where we met when we made that list.
So it might also be related to the population base. And urban counties that have more bodies than Lincoln County. Nobody here is representing the upper drainage from Utah County, Wasatch County, Duchesne County, because it doesn't affect those communities. They all come to Hardin County. So you kind of throw that out of the mix. Yeah, there's definitely we're missing some people. We'd like to have them here, and perhaps we our hand out and say, hey, can our next meeting be someplace down there on the other side of I-70? It would make sense.
It probably needs to be another agenda item. Is there just an open candidate discussion on how we make this thing feel like it's fully participated in whatever.
I'm just putting it out there, like that meeting I just discussed in Hanksville, the Garfield people don't want to drive up to it. Right, so even for that, we're having a meeting next spring, we'll have a meeting in Escalante. And, you know, we could have picked like Torrey a little bit closer than Hanksville, but for Loa, you know, it's a long ways anyway.
Yeah.
And it might, you know, the answer might be as easy as the people who represent the state watershed park. They travel a long way. They open up the electronic meeting, and we all call into that meeting down there. So instead of having 8 or 9 people, now we've got 20 people online and there 4 or 5 people are in person. But even today, we don't have any, I was saying all participation seems like. Good. Agencies pretty much.
I think by the next meeting, we'll have more time to get more information out to everyone. All the others. April plan better, able to make time and participate. We have a little bit of time, we were a little bit rushed on this one. We had to do that, so we accomplished this part of it.
Well, if we get this fancy base map, you could actually just put a little red dot of every single person where they live. It might be pretty telling. Well, dots in the. Then we can target them areas where we don't have that support.
I think I'm at the point where we should continue the process. I agree with Bill, it's a big watershed, but to try to split it, I think would be kind of a monumental task. And the legislature had a reason for creating that size. I don't know what it was, but there had to be a reason for it. And I don't want to start off saying, well, we don't like your configuration.
Too big, yeah. I agree. Yeah, we should try hard. Have some failures there to lean on and say this is why.
If we have to go that route, yes, at least we have the example of that list. Apparently doesn't work, we cannot make it.
But I think I think that's a great suggestion. In the near future, maybe our next meeting is we try to have it. I mean, we structured our council to do that. We asked special permission whether we could have it outside the area, and we got all the green lights. And if some people can go down there, that'd be great. See how that goes.
Kind of looking forward to the road trip. Seeing some new countries.
I was down in Cambridge to a high school rodeo a couple weeks ago and came all the way up through there, and every time I kind of do a little lake or a little town, I'm like, wow, I'm the state watershed representative here, and I don't even know where I'm at. Beautiful country.
We share them.
Yeah.
Cool places.
Okay. Any other ideas? Thoughts, comments?
We just ought to set a date, the meeting, time, and location.
Okay. For reporter.
We just talked about doing it down south. Carter, where was it? Where did we ask? Where did we think we might have it? Have it means outside of our area.
You said Bryce.
Carrie had a recommendation.
I thought you said which was it?
That seems to me too. That's not in our area now.
Some severe.
Can't be honest now.
You gotta have a meeting here. Get them that, get organized, like one more time, have it here, before you
Go down there and screen.
put it on the screen.
Yeah, that'd be all right. And in the meantime, we could as officers, Kevin, I'd be willing to volunteer, whoever, we can try to reach out to some of the people on our list here that's more in that southern region and just visit with them and tell them that we're feeling like we gotta get better participation, get some ideas from that, maybe at least they'll call them in.
Yeah. It's good idea.
That's probably a good suggestion, Jay.
I can talk, we can talk to them about Colorado River Authority meeting also, see if there's more interest. So I think, Brian Peterson and Carrie on board us for. If you're missing something, I think that's it.
Sure, you talked about that meeting the other day.
Yeah. And I think Terry was already invited.
Yeah, he actually can't make that meeting, but yeah.
Okay. So what's thoughts on scheduling the meeting?
Yeah, like I said,
I think we're
the
kind
state watershed council was gonna meet on the 14th of January. King. We wanted to kind of avoid that. And especially for Indian vote.
So the first part of March. Late.
If it's far enough out, that was used to
What's that?
If it's far enough out like that, I'm fine.
price detail will be the location on this next one, sure, so we can have that in place. Start. We'll have a map hopefully long. Yeah. That. That'll give us, should give everyone time. We'll stop to everyone, hopefully.
What does the first week in March look like? What's a good days work for everybody? Tuesdays? What is everybody thinking?
Maybe Tuesdays are a better day of the week.
Nick, do you have any strong thoughts of why you won't go to March?
No,
I'm thinking today's the very first of October.
Yeah.
We're almost going 6 months.
In February would be all right. I just was
Yeah.
trying to get the legislature through their term.
That's a good reason.
Yeah. And I don't know what those dates are, but it doesn't get extended to February. Oh, there it is. How about the last half of February, somewhere in there? By then, legislature gotta be over, right?
What?
No?
Yeah.
Well, they go the first week of March.
They'll go
March
until about the
7th.
12th or 15th, I think. They're gonna go till 7th.
I think this is, does it matter for the scoop though?
Doesn't matter. That's where, not legislators. Maybe a community.
I just see if we're gonna go every quarter, we're kind of putting ourselves in the back end of the quarter, but that is part of the next quarter, but it's fun. I'm not partially anyway.
We're in the February.
Yeah, mid-February.
Would it help you as our representative to meet before your meeting with the state?
I don't know, I don't think so.
When is that meeting? You get
14th, January 14th. And Wednesday, October 9th, that was the next 2 weeks.
February 17th, pretty good.
Okay. Anybody have a problem with the 17th?
It's a holiday for the state people.
Oh,
It's a holiday.
leave it up to Dina.
It's a holiday, that's President's Day. You said Tuesdays are better for you, Kip?
Yeah, I think Monday's a lot of people
How about the 18th,
on there for that.
February 18th?
When do we have it to know?
Probably the 18th.
Yeah.
We don't have all of it.
Yeah, it's on the 11th, not 11th, February 11th. 1 o'clock at the city office.
We need to do a motion to that effect, Harley?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd move for that date and time, location.
I'll second.
And Neil Petit was said. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
So right back out, that was. What day?
February 11th.
February 11th?
February 11th.
Hey, Miles, can you, when you use that, put together a teams meeting or co-chairs and probably going to you and the suite and get these put out. Whatever else, other documents we have put out here. How long do we want to do that?
Let me ask a question.
Go ahead, Jay.
We have to advertise our meetings in a hearing scheduling with this group, like we have to do in,
Like, are you required to schedule out the whole year?
yes,
You're not.
we're not.
We can do one at a time.
You can if you want to, but there's nothing saying you have to.
48-hour notice.
It's 24 hours. Yeah. Highly recommend you don't schedule your meetings 24 hours in advance, but yeah.
And I think the difference, Jay, is that we're not a board that spends any money, we don't have a budget, so I think that's the main difference.
We'd like to spend yours.
Well, I know. You can spend mine, but you can't spend boards here.
Maybe our preference would be with the schedule on the meeting, right? Like we just did, just schedule the next meeting.
For now, that would be my recommendation. I think that would work better for this group. We get a little unity in the group. Any other comments, thoughts? Sir?
So Cody just mentioned maybe leadership, we ought to get together 2 weeks beforehand or on the agenda.
Prior to the February 11th. I think that's a good idea.
I think we'll have a better meeting if we can, otherwise we're gonna show up there, and we may have to get an agenda, we may not.
Right, yeah.
I like that, and Carly can send that all out to the group. Everybody kind of comes here knowing what we're gonna talk about.
Okay. Good with that.
Tuesday the 28th.
Yeah.
That's great.
You can send it out. Put it on.
1 o'clock, maybe. 1:30.
That's your time.
That
1:30 better.
1
1 o'clock better for me because usually we're
o'clock.
having reservoir meeting goes up to.
Let's do 1. Is that good? Gordon, is that right for you?
That works for me, yeah.
28th of January 20th.
Are you doing that?
Oh, that's,
That's next week.
training. Oh, that's Watershed. Huh? Next week. Like, we go well, that's what I said, too.
Yeah, I bet.
Kind of adjourning. In your packet, that included a minutes grab, but format that she was gonna use for our meeting. Did go forward. Do they have any issues with the way this lays out? Are you okay with that?
Very. The only thing I think okay would be if trade off items as they go through categories. We use it, if you look at it, it says, everything like that, but blank, you know, but if, and the problem, since you can set the agenda ahead of time, that can be thrown into what those categories are. You can make notations right there.
They want you, once they have the pre-meetings.
Are we gonna have blanks like this at every meeting?
That's what I have to do that.
Well, or is he just gonna, they're just gonna put it in this format?
This meeting.
Just a template.
This is just a template, but are we gonna have blanks on the table at every meeting so we can take notes on it?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, that's it.
We're asking for room to write notes on.
I think that's what she would do, right?
On the agenda itself. Leave room for an agenda population.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be that, the space on the agenda, it helps.
I don't care who makes the motion of the second necessarily, but. Right, I'll take the note right there. Now I've got the agenda, I've got my notations on it. It's easy for me to keep this file organized, sure. I know it's more work for you, but I appreciate you.
Oh, no. Fine. Anything for you.
Hey, Kevin, one other thought, while we're talking about finalizing our list of members. What's the people's thoughts? I mean, we're talking about how we want to make sure we have a broad geographic representation on the council. Could we add a column to that, locate the location of where then people are, whether it's a county, identified by a county, an address,
Yeah.
something, so that when we look at our list, we can start seeing where people are at.
And we need it identified on the map. I think that
Yeah, we could add them to the map.
would really be good on the map, and then we can see if we have the.
What would be an appropriate call, to kind of give us an idea of where people are at, where they live, the county or town?
City or town, yeah.
City, town.
I guess if I hear city, I don't always know where that is.
County, I think.
Well, if you did city and county,
But
Bryce and Carpenter County, but
yeah, just because county, that's good too. Yeah, probably but if we want on a map, counties are kind of big, so it'd be good to show the diversity there.
I should have done that before we handed that list around.
I'm like, I can call names if you guys want to have me fill it in really quick. Or I can pass it back around. What's the easiest way?
Just fill it in. Or if you want to send an email to the entire group and ask them to please provide the town and city.
Yeah, we do that too. Does that work better for everyone?
I'm good for whatever. It's probably easier for you to just go around.
You want to just go around the room while we're here?
Yeah,
Do that and then you can send out emails to fill in the blanks.
yeah. I'll go down the list, including people who aren't here, just in case someone here knows.
Yeah.
So Randy Irwin.
That's Rainer.
Okay. Miles, Ian Price, Dara Sugu, Mike Noel. I think of that.
He's in Canab.
Okay, thank you. Sue Belgamba,
Yeah, she's on board now.
Oh, Susan on.
Susan Moab. Moab, Moab.
Nick Santino,
Barb.
Barbara. Did you want your town outline?
Barb.
Oh, is that a town?
Barberville. Price.
Dino?
Price.
Jeff Bridges,
Rats.
Mark Batista,
Canab.
Thomas DeHart,
He's here in Price.
Bryce, Cody, Bart Jensen,
On the black sheet, but our office is here for us, but I actually, but it was, yeah. It's-
Gotcha.
I think it's okay here, like, yeah, for where you work.
Yeah.
Like Stu and Moab, but they do a lot of projects here.
Yeah. Autumn,
What are you asking of me?
sorry, we're just trying to get a grasp on where everybody lives throughout the watershed. Or
Oh,
work.
well, I work in Iron County, but I live in the Kaibab Paiute Reservation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and then you guys have some misspellings of my name, the tribe, and the band. So
no.
in the last meeting notes.
Oh, so sorry. I think Holly did this. She's not working. Okay, I will make sure and clean those up. Thank you. Brian is not here. Brian Henderson. Anyone know?
It's good on irrigation company.
Okay. Russell City.
Russell was on.
He's still in Price.
Price.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I live in Price.
Okay, thank you. Kevin,
Right.
Bill Butcher,
Price.
Jay,
Castleton.
Anderson.
Leland, if we get him, says Garfield Ignition. And Carrie. There's Carrie.
dilemma. Okay. Do you want to do liaisons? Council members are more important. Hey, thanks everyone.
Now for the most important agenda item.
Oh, you better get a make a motion. I'm gonna make a motion this year.
I'm not.
All in favor?
Alright.
Thank you, everybody.
I don't know if this is right there.
Thanks.
I don't know what that was.
Well, that was Adams County. He did them everything.
Okay.
And then I did this year, well, somebody comes with it.